Morning all. I have another very interesting Mikhail Tal game to show. This is actually crucial historically. It was a 1959 candidates tournament, very high stakes. Mikhail Tal was actually playing the pre-tournament favourite, Vasily Smyslov. So remember, in this tournament they had to play each other 4 times. On the first encounter, Smyslov actually won. Okay, so this is later in round 22. Okay, let's see what happened. Mikhail Tal kicked off with e4. Smyslov not scared to play the Sicilian defense. So we have an open Sicilian. And here we have e6. And it does actually invite the Keres attack g4, which is actually the main move nowadays. But this wasn't played here. Is that a let-off? I don't know. You can consider that a let-off. That's one of the reasons I think the knight-off move a6 is perhaps arguably a better move order if you did want to play e6. So anyway, here bishop e2 was played. a6. After castles, knight bd7. f4. b5. It's pretty standard stuff here, it seems, but black does have a very nice position. I think he hasn't got any complaints about king safety in this particular variation of the Sicilian. He enjoys the semi-open file, he enjoys pressure on e4, doesn't seem to be faced with a mad hack attack at the moment. White is playing a move like a3 now just to stop b4. Other alternatives here, apparently in line, but e5. This position's been seen a few times, where white plays the e5 move. And here, maybe knight d1 is one of the better moves. But it's not that inspiring for white, basically. This position doesn't seem that inspiring. So a3. We have queen c7. Queen e1, as if the queen is poised for some sort of kingside attack, but it also holds up the knight on c3, which means b3 is possible without losing the knight. Bishop e7. King gets off this potentially sensitive diagonal. Rook b8. Looks like a very, very interesting idea. Things like bishop a8 and b4 seem dangerous against white's queenside. It's here b3 is played, which is afforded by the queen on e1. So bishop b2. At least white's solved the problem of his queen's bishop, and the c4 square is not available for a knight maneuver. So in some ways it seems as though, you know, is white's position fine, but look at black's position. Very natural move, rook e8 for bishop f8. Very natural idea to put more pressure on e4, basically. With e5 taking, there'll be a lot of pressure on e4 coming up, and factor in also knight c5. So it seems black at the moment has a very comfortable position. e5. So we're going to expose this e-pawn. Knight f5. There is a threat here of knight h6 check and knight takes f7 if black's not careful. That's avoided with king h8. We have queen h4. E takes f4, queen takes f4, and black gets that nice e5 square. Yes, there's a slight weak pawn here, weak pawn, but black's pieces are great here for the moment. Rook e3, g6, knight h6, and it's official. From an engine point of view, black is a little better here. There's nothing too bad about this position for black. We have knight d5, knight takes d5, e takes, and now f6. Yeah, holding up that f7 pawn. So there's pressure down the c file and not too much pressure on the f file at the moment. Bishop e4 protects that pawn on c2. But there's a very tempting idea here now. Very tempting. Can you see what Smyslov plays in this position? if I give you 5 seconds to pause the video, what would you play here with black? Yeah, G5. It might not be the best move, but it does promise to win a piece, because after Queen F5, it is possible to take the knight because we're protecting H7. Yeah, Tal's just lost a piece. In fact, black's position was pretty good here anyway, and maybe technically better F5. If you look at black's position, if white's forced to sack a piece like this isn't very convincing. You know, at least technically it isn't convincing. It's just like a piece down for not much, basically. So yeah, F5 is also interesting here for black as well, or even bishop C8. For example, this position, if white's forced to sack a piece like this is just, it's not great. And if white doesn't like sack a piece, then black's in a really good shape here. It just seems like a really great position. This knight's kind of stranded with bishop c8. So yeah, it seems as though black has a powerful position at the point he played this g5. So it's pretty committal that white is just getting a couple of pawns basically here. Okay, let's get this position. But okay, black is faced with the mate threat, queen takes h7. So for the moment, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, just one pawn. But that mate threat is addressed. Okay, rook here threatening queen takes g6. We have bishop takes bishop here, winning that bishop. Yeah, because black wasn't actually threatening this. This was ignored by Tal. He just gave up his bishop to get this knight. So he's trying to maximize his light square pressure. So in particular, h7 and g8 squares are of interest to white. But this position, black is a piece up for just a pawn, in fact, at the moment. At the moment, just a pawn. Okay, rook h6. We have rook g8, queen f5. Queen is kicked. Queen f3. The forcing move g4, queen d3. Bishop e5. Yeah, you're not imagining it. Black seems to have a great e5 square as well. It seems as though what's the problem with this massive centralized bishop? What is the problem here for black's defense? Isn't black just like a piece up? And this is Vasily Smyslov, right? Isn't he just this piece up? Remember, they did have things like time pressure even back then. At move 40, they'd get like the next session. So there is now time pressure creeping up here. This is now move 34. If we look at the position, would you say it's very dangerous for black? The thing is now, white's Tal tries to put pressure elsewhere on the queen side. This c4 carries with it potentially latent threat. Now after this, of c5. Trying for d6, trying to distract some resources away from h7. So c4, c5 is connected up with h7 pressure. We see rook, eg7, and now c5 here. So trying to distract the queen away from protecting h7. This is taken. d6, the queen clings on with queen a7. So keeping protection of h7 from there. What's the problem? Problem is time pressure is creeping up here. Time pressure. But apparently some people are writing off Mikhail Tal. The journalist, the press, is almost like preempting the result, because this does not look good for Tal. Isn't he just a piece down? But he's playing on. He plays bishop d5. Rook d8. Now we're at move 39. So Smyslov is getting very, very short on time. But surely, okay, what are the concrete threats here? Although there might not be concrete threats, White's pieces are coordinated as a good team here. There's a good team, and a good team can create threats. So even if you haven't got threats, if you've got good coordination, maybe, you know, try playing on. Don't give up. Queen e4. The bishop goes to a protected square. It looks very comfortable, very centralized. What's the problem? Now we're at the peak of time pressure, move 40. Tal, a piece down, but his position is capable of creating a threat because there are coordinated pieces here. If I give you 5 seconds, what would you play with White to generate a very concrete and dangerous threat which might invoke a major blunder from the opponent? I'll give you 5 seconds here to pause the video. What can you do in this position to create a major threat? Okay, on move 40, Queen f4. So Smyslov has to play one more move to get more time, whatever the process is, time limits. But he's in time pressure, he has to play move quickly. And yet, Tal's been written off at this point. People are sending the result that Tal's lost already. The thing is, okay, what is White threatening here? Which, if you've got like less than 2 minutes to make a move, what do you have to parry in this position with Black? As I mentioned, there's great coordination of White's pieces here to Black's king. The opponent's king is a great coordinator. Yeah, that's the central villain for the army here to try and catch. Now, just to demonstrate the threat here, if Black played a5, then Queen f8 check is the threat because we're mating here on g8. So how does Black parry this? What's the best way? It's not that easy to find this move instantly as humans. What Smyslov played now actually turned this position from technically a winning position to a lost position. He played here rook g d7, and there's a move here which basically gives White a decisive advantage and also reflects this coordination concept that I was mentioning. And I think this is something in our own games, if to learn from this game in particular, although it might be a scraggy game, it does demonstrate if you've got coordinated pieces and are able to generate threats, why not carry on? The opponent's human, the opponent could crack up. The opponent has cracked up, but can you spot the winning move here, which Tal played? So this was the move 40 blunder, classic blunder. So move 41. What does Tal play in this position? Which makes it crystal clear Black has zero defense now. Zero defense to this next move. So I'll give you 5 seconds to find the move for White. Okay. Rook f6. Beautiful coordination. The treble battery spells total disaster for Black's king here. The treble battery means it's pretty serious about breaking through to things like f8. Pretty serious. Now, how does this actually win this triple battery? Okay, I'm looking at my crib notes here as well. Rook g8 as an example. Say Black played rook g8 to try and make sure this isn't check, this rook f8. But here, okay, White plays rook f8, and this is actually a forced mate in 10. this position here, we've got great coordination now on G8, and also it's pretty dangerous. The bishop is protecting the dark squares, but it's the G8 square which is pretty terminal. So here, in this position, if say rook D8 now, bishop takes G8 is absolutely, it's a massacre. So this one, well, we don't have to play that on there. It's a complete massacre. The more obvious move, bishop takes f6, just fails terribly, because here the check, the bishop and queen are beautifully coordinating, and this one means this is a loose piece on d8. We just take here, so we're mating like that. Okay, so essentially, yeah, black is completely done for in this position now. There doesn't seem to be any defense at all. Also, I do want to show you actually one more defensive try. Rook takes d6, check. Now we can't take here because this is just checkmate. But in this position, king g7. Can you see how white would finish here? If I give you 5 seconds. Okay, rook takes d6. Sorry, rook takes d8. And we play this queen g5 check, and we're hitting d8 again. Yeah, it's a combination of loose pieces, it seems, you know, in this position. It's fatal to have a loose piece on d8, which echoes the idea that queen d7 actually again is necessary to try and reinforce you know, against potentially loose targets like the d8 rook. Okay, yeah, defenseless it seems. If something like king g7 check looks absolutely killing, we just play rook f8 check. Yeah, Tal's got the black king here with this triple battery. There's no defense. You might want to check this out yourself, but here actually Smyslov just resigned. So I think there's a big lesson here about piece coordination, that, you know, whilst you've got coordinated pieces around the opponent's king, then you've got threats, you've got the potential to still win the game. Hang in there. Also, of course, the practical elements of time pressure. Opponents could make horrendous blunders right at the boundary point of the next time control. So right at the checkpoint, move 40 was the decisive error. Now, an improvement, what could black have played? The improvement here is actually queen d7. So this is the strongest move, apparently. For example, queen f8 check, rook g8 is possible. And if the queen's evicted, then this is going to be the start of big trouble. After rook f8, black will be winning. So it seems the key move for defense to consider is queen d7. It basically, you know, means that rook g8 is still possible, and the rook is guarded by the queen. There's no major disastrous variations which do transpire, it seems, after this rook gd7. Sure, I mean, it has a lot of logic to it. It seems reasonable, but it's just not working. Queen f8 here check, by the way, is not mating because the king crawls out and hits h6. So this isn't mate, unfortunately. Originally, a little bit of trivia, there was I think there was a game score issue at chessgames.com, and they had the other rook, which just trivially leads, because there was a bit of ambiguity, it just trivially leads to a checkmate. So that couldn't actually be the case. There's no way Smyslov, in my view, would ever play that rook. So this one, but yeah, the killer move here is rook f6. It's quite incredible. It's, for me, this feels like an iron fist, you know, really using the muscle, the triple battery on the F file. It's really a muscular move to me. I don't know about you guys, but when you set up a triple battery and it's irresistible threats, that's really powerful bishop on d5. But yeah, Tal got lucky, but he generates his own luck as well. He clearly was playing reasonably quickly as well, and the opponent was in great time pressure. It's said that in 3 of the 4 games, Smyslov was better against Tal in this candidates tournament. So, okay, Tal won a lot more games though to win the tournament and to get to challenge Mikhail Botvinnik the next year in 1960. Okay, comments, questions, likes appreciated. Thanks very much.